I hope you're well. Right, welcome along everybody to Continuous Car. I'm just going to jump round into the car now. Right. Hi everybody. Hi. Right. We are all good. Everything is now working. And I am here at the Goodwood Revival this week. So I've set up the marquee setup, but I'm also doing a Continuous Car Live for Heritage Car Insurance. So hope everybody's well. I just thought I'd get the chat live on here as well. Just turn the volume off. And I'm doing a Lotus Elite this evening. So it's like, it looks black in the photo, but actually it's dark blue. So it's rather lovely. And yeah, so if you're coming out to Revival, I will be here. Oh yeah, Saturday, excellent. Martin, hope you're well as well. And I will be creating Continuous Car here at the Goodwood Revival in my little car. But at the moment I'm creating for Heritage Car, Classic Car Insurance. The nice guys there, so this is part of their series. And this is a Lotus Elite. We're now up to 1035 or something in the series, I kind of forget. Got a few more down here, so here's some of the previous ones that have been done. There's a Mini and there's a Audi TT, some recent ones. So yeah, I'm going to crack on and do this Lotus Elite here on the screen. So it's kind of, that's a love. I'm going to take the colours from this one, but the angle of this one, I think. That one's a really nice angle as well. I might actually do that angle because it's got a lovely red interior as well. So I'm going to crack on and do this. So hopefully Heritage are popping in and saying hi as well. So yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I can see the screen in front of me, so if you've got any questions, just ask. As I said, at Revival here, set up pretty much. We've just been hanging a painting in the market. I'll send a photo of that later, and I'm going to crack on. So Continuous Car Drawing is drawing an outline of a vehicle without taking the pen off the paper, hence why it's called Continuous Car Drawing. I've also been doing it continuously since March of last year, which has been fun. So I'm going to crack on and create this Lotus Elite 1980, lovely kind of 1980s design about it, very kind of angular in that way. So that's kind of nice. I do like a bit of an 80s car. So kind of this bluey red to it as well. So I am going to crack on and create. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, so we're going to crack on and start. I'm going to start around about here. Never drawn an Elite before, so this is the first time I'm drawing an Elite. Let's say nice kind of 80s, really swoopy back to it, which is lovely. And then so I'll say down here at Revival at Goodwood this week, over in the over the road section of the event. So if you're you are visiting, come and say hi. Lots to see and do. It's very exciting. I've not done Revival before as a trader or exhibitor, so it's exciting to do it. And so yeah, well, sketchy. I've got loads to get done, mate. Loads and loads to get done. I've got quite a backlog. People have been very patient with their orders, so thank you very much who's ordered and waiting for their drawings. I'm going to crack on first thing tomorrow morning because we're all pretty much set up. We've got a little bit more done tonight. We've had a bite to eat already, so we don't have to scoot off anywhere to get any food. But yeah, it's been pretty hectic. So I'm just going to get that. There's a lovely line that goes all the way across, all the way. And back with this Lotus Elite. I've drawn a few Lotuses, but not an Elite. So I've done a Spree, I've done a Leigh's, a Lan, done a few. So So it's quite cool to do one of these as well. In all its 80s glory, 1980, it was manufactured and produced. So, and this is for heritage car insurance, where the customers are having their cars created as part of, and then they're going to use them as advertising and in their things as well. So, Ace Custom Motorcycles, welcome along, chap. Hope you're well. And yeah, I've got loads to get done over the next few days. So, and it's open quite late. So, hopefully, I'll get 5, 6 done a day. I hope. But I also want to chat to people and say hi and whatever. So, if you're at the event, come and say hi. I am going to be wearing, in revival clothes, as it were. So, yeah. And alright, just get that in the front there. Leigh, the Elite's owner has requested. Oh, okay. Leigh, is that Leigh Greenham? Okay, yeah. Bear with. Let me just finish the outline, and then I'll jump around because the phone's on the other side. So I will go and see that request, and hopefully I'll get you in. So and we can have a little chat, which would be good as well. So let me just finish. If you give me some information about the car, that'd be awesome. So just, give us some fun facts about the car. That would be superb. And we have a little, have a little chat about it. Looking forward to that. Because that's how all these continuous cars started, is with conversations. So I do enjoy a little chat whilst I'm drawing. Sorry, that's slightly throwing me off. So just that light isn't quite right, but we'll do that. Evening, Robbie. So, hopefully we might be chatting with the owner of said car. So, yeah, that's fine as the outline. There we are. To start off with, that is the continuous line of the Elite. So I'm going to run round and hopefully we'll be chatting to see who's the owner of this car. So there we are. Right. So how doing? So hopefully we've got the sending a request right back. If that is working, fingers crossed. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes a while for the request to come through. So, oopsie, notepad's just dropped down. Is the owner still there? That is the thing. So, green. Unfortunately, no. So I'll come back to. I'm not sure she can actually join. Unfortunately. I'm trying to, there we are. See if you can join. Fingers crossed. On. Yeah, if your sadly if your profile's on private, Needs to be a public profile. We'll try again in a minute. I'll have sent a request. We'll see if we can. All the pens, yeah. Right, I'm going to come back. So, try and. I have sent a request to Leah. So, right, so there we are. Sorry about that. Right, sorry, Leah, but I have tried to get you to join in on the convo. Your account needs to be public rather than private. I think that's maybe the problem. But we'll see where we go. I'll see if we can get you on in a minute. Dad, just check on my phone. Just need a minute. When it'll pop up on my phone as a red Leigh Greenham. It'll pop up here. Yeah. Hopefully.
Have you got connection now?
Yeah, I've got connection. Yeah. It's just.
Is she going to join you? Is she?
Well, I've tried to send successfully. Fingers crossed. You'll see it pop up here, Dad, in red.
Right.
If it pops up in red, accept the request.
Accept it. Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No. That's right. Right. Okay. We'll try it.
Okay.
Right. We'll go back round. Right. Sorry about that. Sorry, Leah. We are trying to get you in. So, hope you're as well. Thanks for joining. How you doing, matey? The RS is ace. One of my faves are created. So, creating this rather lovely Elite. Leigh Greenham, a customer of Heritage Insurance.
Leigh Graham.
Yeah. Is it?
Where do I?
Best red? Is it?
At the bottom, that
Red.
+1 red.
Yeah. Accept it.
Request. Go live. Oh, I don't want send request, do I?
Yeah. Send request. Yeah.
Send request.
Or
Right.
if it's on red, you can accept a request. But sometimes it won't do it. Just getting the colours in there. Nice start blue on this Elite.
She disappeared again.
Oh.
Ah,
What have we done?
am I now with you, Ian?
Oh, hello.
Don't you love this technology when it works?
Oh, it's wonderful. I can hear myself echo though.
Ah, okay. Well, I can only hear you once, and I guess that means everybody else can only hear you once, so maybe you're going to have to live with hearing your own voice.
Yeah. I can deal with that, I think.
I love the fact that you've got an...
Oh. What's happened?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, go on, we're back
Right,
again.
we're back.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I was just commenting that you've got the exact colour pen, or it looks to be the exact colour of blue
It's
for this car.
a really interesting colour. It's because it looks
Yes.
looks black, but that's a really beautiful blue.
Yeah, well, it's a metallic blue, and the reason it's that blue is that it was the sponsor's colour at the time. My car was owned by the Formula One team, the Essex Lotus Formula One team in 1980. Essex only sponsored the team for that year and a bit of the following year. They were a petroleum company based out of Monaco, and they had a colour scheme that was that blue, which was called Essex Blue, plus red and silver. So all the Formula One cars were blue with big red and silver stripes. and my car was blue with a red interior and a very subtle, I don't know if you can see it in the picture that you've got on your screen, but a very subtle red and silver stripe along the sill, along the bottom of the door.
Yeah.
So that was one of the unique things about the colour scheme of the car.
Oh, I'm told the echo is really bad.
Okay, is there anything I can do about that?
You know what? If you just talk about the car, I won't talk. I'll just listen.
Okay, well that suits me down.
Yeah. So you just crack on. I'll draw.
Okay. So I've owned the car for 24 years now. I was looking for a Lotus all those years ago and saw a little advert that the guy who owned it had placed at the Lotus Festival that year at Donington at the circuit, and he said that he was selling his whole collection. It transpired this poor Dutch guy had got a heart condition and a collection of 24 Lotus cars of different types, and his heart surgeon had said one of the two things has got to go. Either your collection goes and that releases the stress and you stay alive, or not. So anyway, he sold the car. He knew it had some link to Colin Chapman, but wasn't entirely sure what that link was. He knew that the car had been owned by the team, but he got no kind of proof apart from one letter from a member of the team that said, oh yeah, I think that was the car that we used. Anyway, I bought the car, brought it back to the UK. He'd got it in Holland, where it'd been for 10 years. Got the restoration underway. The paint was in a pretty poor state, as you say, from the photo that you're copying. It's a nice bright blue. Well, it was a dull blue, but fortunately the paint code colour was on the VIN plate of the car, and the guy that I used to get the paintwork done checked it out and found the exact shade, this metallic blue. Actually, he reckons it was a Mercedes-Benz colour that they called magnetic blue, but it worked on the Lotus. And at the time, they were producing the Esprit Turbo for the first time, and that was done in Essex colours. There was a limited range of 100 of them. But Colin Chapman needed a four-seater Lotus. The Elite had been around for about 6 years by then, that he could have at the various circuits, so that as he hitched up in his plane with entourage or with drivers, the car would be waiting for him, and he was seen driving not his normal Mercedes, but a Lotus car. So the team requested the factory build this particular car in the colours. And a driver was responsible for taking it to the various Grand Prix circuits for that season while Essex were sponsoring. And indeed Tissot, the watch company, whose colours were exactly the same. In fact, I can show you that. There's the... I've got a few things ready. I don't know if you can see that, Ian, but there's the Essex logo, blue, red and silver. And there's the Tissot. I think I've got one here somewhere. Let's have a look. The Tissot colours were kind of almost exactly the same, red, blue and silver. So yeah, that's what happened. The car was around Europe for that year, and since I've owned it, I've been able to, if you like, in the winter months, have a bit of a hobby of tracking down the history and actually finding photographs of the car when it was owned by the team. So it's very nice that I've got some photographic proof. I don't know whether Heritage sent you some of these, but let's have a look. Just about see the car there on the Monaco quayside at the Formula One Grand Prix in Monaco in 1980. There it is again, parked in the paddock next to a similarly coloured Mini that the mechanic would have used. And probably the best photo, it's only black and white, is the one taken at Hockenheim. Let's try and get the reflections up of that one. So you can see Colin Chapman, Mario Andretti, Elio De Angelis, the car itself sitting in the paddock at Hockenheim, where they were using it. There was a raffle going on, not for my car, but for another Elite, for all the Tissot watch people. And one lucky Tissot dealer from somewhere in Switzerland, I understand, got an Elite done in his colour scheme. So yeah, my car has been with me for 24 years. My wife and I have taken it to quite a few of the circuits that it went to when it was part of the team. We've taken it to Monaco, it's been to Zandvoort, Silverstone obviously, and Brands Hatch. We've taken it to Belgium. We hope to get down to Monaco again next year for the historic, and enjoy reuniting the road car with the Formula One cars of the generation, which are still raced in the historic racing series.
Oh, that's awesome. Just getting the.
That's coming on well. You've changed the kind of overall low, long look into a slightly higher look, I think.
Yeah, it's because the the paper's square. But we'll get there. We'll get there. It's more of a caricature than anything.
Indeed, yeah.
So.
Well, I have seen you working actually, Ian, at Silverstone Classic when you've been doing painting with cars, painting with your little remote control things. Funnily enough, you wouldn't have known it, but my car was probably only 100 metres away from where you were doing that painting at the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm down. I'm down at Revival right now, so. You still there?
Yeah. I'm just watching with enthusiasm and with some sort of jealousy, because the fact that you can just do this kind of at will is amazing.
Thank you very much. Are you down to good with this weekend or?
Won't be at the Revival, no. But funnily enough, we'll be seeing where I am, which is about 100 miles, where I will be anyway, 100 miles from where you are. We'll be seeing some of the same things that you will see at the Revival, in the form of Spitfires and Hurricanes, because I think you're going to get an air show that the Revival always puts on, but it's the same weekend this year as the Battle of Britain fly past at Duxford. So I'm going to be at Duxford. And the same planes I think will be flying over you as will be then flying over us, or vice versa.
Oh, awesome! Oh, that sounds a good weekend.
So yeah, as I mentioned, I don't know whether your drawing will show the colour of the interior, but it's scarlet red.
I was going to say it looks like bright red.
Yeah, the whole trim, the seats, the dashboard, door cards, the centre of the steering wheel was all done in the bright plush red leather, because that again was what was happening in the Esprit Turbo, what they called the Essex Esprit Turbo, bright red leather, which when I first bought the car I thought, oh my god, that's bordello red, I think that was my wife's phrase, and I thought, oh, it'd be nice to have a sort of a magnolia or champagne leather, and I was quickly told, you ain't going to change a thing with this car because of its history, and people have told me that were absolutely right. So over the years I've had it, I've made sure I did very little to it that wasn't part of the original design. In fact, the only thing really that isn't is the stereo, so that I can at least make telephone calls when I'm driving it.
That's a sensible decision. Lovely.
So yeah, the wheels that you're detailing now, they were called Speedline wheels, but I'm told somebody at Lotus actually came up with the basic sort of iron cross design for them, although there's similar wheels by others, and you only see those wheels on the Elite, the Eclat and the Esprits of the period from 80 through to sort of 84-ish. For those viewers who are interested in that level of detail.
Do they have a particular name?
Does what have a
the wheel design?
Yeah, they were called speed lines,
Speed lines.
and that's kind of embossed into the alloy. Yeah, I did have somewhere. I think one of the other pictures that Heritage might have sent you was when I managed to get the car. Let's see if I can find a version of it alongside one of the Formula One cars that it was with at the time of its birth. I managed to achieve in at Donington again. Oh yes, here we are. So again, I'll take out the cellophane. So I don't know whether that will show up so that some of your viewers can see, again, the Elite, obviously, but beside it, the Essex Formula One car. That was Nigel Mansell's first Formula One car, his Lotus Essex 81B. So you can see the blue colour with the red and silver stripes. It's very stunning, actually, in its day.
I think I might. Oh no, it's still echoing. Yeah, that's a shame. So, front detail done.
It was very pleasing that when I brought it back from Holland all those years ago, 1997, in those days DVLA were very approachable. Maybe they are today, but that's not the reports we read. And it was a very simple job to get them to allow me to put the very original registration back on the car, LCL 852V, because that matches all the photos that I've got. Of course, that number was released when the owner took it to Holland, but DVLA had no qualms in allowing that to go back on. I could prove that it was the same vehicle, so that was fortunate.
I'm just going to add there. It's a really nice line that goes all the way through it as well.
Yes, there's a simple silver coach line at the waist level. The waist level is where the two halves of the fiberglass body were joined together. So what Lotus did, they developed this high pressure resin moulding facility, and the join of the upper and the lower body was covered with a rubber strip. So what Lotus used to do on some models was put a little coach line on there. So mine's got a double silver coach line. And then, as I say, they added that red and silver sill line because of that being the Essex colours.
And how many of these now still exist?
Yeah, good question. Well, this particular model, in 1980, they revamped the Elite. It'd been first released in 74, and it hadn't been particularly reliable. There were bits of it like they used a pneumatic system to raise the headlamps, for example, and that used to leak, so the headlamps would just kind of creep up of their own accord. The chassis used to rot. The gearbox used Austin Maxi gears inside a Lotus casing. But in 1980, they decided to get rid of all of those weaknesses. So this was one of the first cars of what they called the S2.2, Series 2.2. The engine was increased in capacity from 2 litre to 2.2. And I'm told that there was only about 130 of the Elites built in that S2.2. So there's probably only a small fraction of that actually around now, a few dozen, if that. There are more of the old Elites still around, except that they do take a bit of looking after the old ones because of the problems that I just described. So a few of the older Elites have actually been updated with some of these Series 2.2 additions, like electric motors to raise the headlamps, and a galvanized chassis, and a few other fixtures and fittings. The front air dam that you've already drawn, that was improved so that the cooling and the airflow into the engine was improved. So, you know, touching wood, leaning on a wooden desk, I can say that this particular car has been quite reliable. You know, there's only been a few times when it's had issues. Obviously, it has to be maintained quite well. But I kind of like to think that because for its first 2 years, it would go back to the factory and it would have very good servicing, knowing that the boss of the company was going to be driving it the following week. And that maybe in those days they had a pick of engines. There were perhaps a few engines that were a bit sweeter than the others, or that had been specially fettled. So I'm wondering whether this particular car's reliability is due to the fact that it had some nice pieces picked for it specially.
Yeah, it's a very special and unique car.
So I don't know whether the light reflection on the photo I sent, I'll probably have a look at that actually, might distort slightly the colour of the bonnet. Let's have a look. Yes, what you probably can't work out from the photo, Ian, is that there's some air intake slats about a third of the way up the bonnet, and they're actually a matte black.
Yeah.
They kind of look bluish.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so they're actually the same colour as the bumper, the front and rear bumper, which you can probably see a bit more clearly.
That's good. Make sure that.
So yeah, the driver's seat is slightly interesting again to those that may have a particular detailed want for details. In that it's had Colin Chapman, Mario Andretti, and we think Nigel Mansell. I've actually spoken to Nigel at an event and said, "Do you remember driving this car?" And he kind of looked at me and said, "How many cars do you think I've driven in my life? You think I could remember that?" Anyway, he said it in a nice way. But I like to think that when I'm driving the car, that bit of leather that is closest to my bottom has been sat on by various people that are noteworthy to Lotus fans. Fortunately, although the leather was quite worn, the actual base leather itself was good, and was able to be brought back to as new scarlet colours just after I bought the car. I suppose, Ian, I ought to say at this time that the insurance that I've had on this car has been absolutely second to none. I can't think of a better insurance company to insure this Lotus with than the one that I'm with. Do you know who that is, Ian?
It's Heritage, absolutely.
Yeah. I hope Nicola's listening. Joking aside, it was actually Heritage or Norton Heritage that insured it when I first bought the car, and I said I need to drive it back from or bring it back from Holland, and it's roadworthy, and it obviously hasn't got an MOT because it was in Holland, but it's roadworthy in Holland. Is that okay? And Heritage were very amenable back in the day. I'm sure they still would be if I asked the same question today.
It's the same with a very highly modified, like the highly modified car that is turned into a studio for me.
The previous owner, the Dutch guy I said with the heart condition and 20 odd Lotuses, he couldn't drive them all. He couldn't keep them all in the garage that he had under his house near Amsterdam. So the Lotus, the Elite, and there was a Sunbeam Talbot and an old baby Elan. He had them stored in a friend's barn about 100 miles away. So by the time I got there, the car had been in the barn for a couple of years, unused, covered in dust. So being a fiberglass body and the paint had slightly cracked, the gel cracks in places, dust had got into them. So it looked terrible when I first saw it. But realised that it was a solid car underneath and it could be brought back to very good condition.
Yeah, I'm currently going through a restoration process myself. So.
On what?
A Vauxhall Chevette.
Wow. Not the 2.3 litre rally spec version?
No.
The 1300L.
Yeah, but it's having a Mazda MX-5 engine.
Should be pretty good. Yeah, well, I'm born and bred in Luton, so the Chevettes were built just down the road from me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a nice little badge on the in the engine bay that says it's from built in Luton.
That's looking good. So the white there is sort of emphasising, is it the chrome around
Yes.
the glass?
Yep.
Very 1970s look, bright chrome trim.
That's the one. Just a nice square wing mirror on it as well.
Yep. So they only ever made it with a 4-cylinder, either 2-litre in the first series or, as in this case, 2.2-litre engine. Although the designer, Oliver Winterbottom, he designed the engine bay big enough to take a V8, and a few people have stuffed V8 engines into them. But when they launched the car, and it was primarily for the American market, it was just at the time of the 70s fuel crisis, and that kind of changed their minds on it, so they just went for a high-performance 16-valve Lotus engine. Although, strangely enough, coincidentally, the block of the engine was based on the Vauxhall 4-cylinder block, but cast in aluminium that Lotus did, with a completely bespoke 16-valve head on it. So it's got 160 brake horsepower, so not a huge amount, but then it's a very light car with fiberglass body and lots of aluminium. So in the day, it was 0 to 60 at 7.5, I think it was, seconds, and top speed of 124, I think. So it was pretty racy for its day. And it was released just at the time that Lotus were trying to take their product range up market a bit. So they were aiming this at kind of the businessman. And it was really more of a grand tourer than an out-and-out sports car, which is why we've enjoyed taking it on some fairly long trips, either in the UK or across Europe.
Well, it looks lovely. It looks really. Yeah.
Well, in the days before low-profile tyres that most of our cars, modern cars, seem to be afflicted with, this had 14-inch wheels, so it had quite a bit of rubber between the wheel and the road surface. It had sort of superb Lotus engineered suspension, and actually it rides over modern lanes arguably better than an everyday car does, because of the extra sort of compliance in the suspension and the tyres. So it's stiff when it needs to be. It does get taken onto a circuit every so often, but not like an absolute maniac. But then it's very comfortable on the longer trips. 5-speed manual gearbox.
We're pretty much there, I think.
Well, from this crazy angle, it looks very, very good.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for joining me as an unexpected joining of On the Line, which is always nice.
So for people that are coming down to the revival, will they see you painting cars with your little remote control car?
I'll be drawing. I'll be drawing for the whole event. So I'm set up. I'll get some photos in the morning. I will be cracking on from drawings at 8 o'clock because I've got a lot of drawings to get done. So yeah, I'm in the over-the-road section of Revival.
Well, the forecast doesn't look too bad. You might get, as we will get in Duxford, some slight showers on the Saturday. but otherwise it's not looking too bad.
I can live with that. I'll live with that.
Well, you can. You're undercover, but the poor old, punters might get a bit wet.
Makes more exciting racing, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There we are. Right. So here we are. There is your Lotus as a continuous card drawing.
That is excellent.
I'll get the number. I haven't put the number button. I'll put the number button. There we are. Just that on there.
I was quite excited when I saw the number LCL852V, thinking, oh, Lotus Cars Limited, they actually got a personalised number. But then some bright spark said, yeah, but CL was Norwich at the time, so you'll see ACL, MCL, PCL, NCL, and every letter you think. However, again, they did register the car knowing it was going to the team, so I think they might just have said, well, we will get an LCL one if we can.
I think that adds to the story. There we are.
That's great, Ian. Thank you very much for that.
No, I'll get that posted online, and thank you so much for chatting. And hopefully we'll see each other at the car event soon.
Yeah, excellent.
See you, buddy.
Thank you very much again.
Bye.
Bye.